Sarah, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be able to speak to you at this important forum about futures of our educations. Sarah just mentioned this very important, UNESCO global report on the future of educations issued in November last year. And this report comes as a critical response to the current global challenges facing today's societies, including marginalizations, exclusion of access to education, as well as climate change and technological innovations. It calls for a new social contract for education to allow us to think differently about learning and the relationship between students, teachers, knowledge, and the world. The UNESCO report could not come at a better time when Western nations has growth in Hong Kong, that the concept of social contract should be renewed to ensure our future is a sustainable one. The public has made a clear call for the change of positive non-interventionism or the small government, big market policy. Over the years, a lot of social and livelihood problems have accumulated and deteriorated in Hong Kong. The most salient of them, including the housing shortage, poverty, inadequate mobility opportunity for young people, and the scarcity of the healthcare resources. In President Xi Jinping's speech in Hong Kong on 1st of July this year, he requested the government should execute proactive governance and prioritize the interests of the people, particularly those of underprivileged, so that everyone in Hong Kong can benefit from the city development and prosperity. That's why a new social contract for Hong Kong is needed to promote long-term and sustainable economic development and enhance social justice and fairness. I think on education, there's also a growing consensus that Hong Kong education system today should be improved to tackle the problems. A new social contract for education should be put in place. The new social contract for education is based on two founding principles. First, the right to quality education for all and thorough life. And the second, the understanding that education is a collective public start as a good, common good must contribute effectively to the realization of a sustainable, just, and peaceful future. The remake of education has bordered extensively to not only develop students' academic and intellectual growth, but also to provide them with the necessary transferable and employability skills such as communication, problem solving, collaborative teamwork, and enterprise for studying, living, and working in a globalized world. Students also need to develop a sense of self, curiosity, criticality, agency, and active citizenship, and to be well informed in their academic subjects. However, traditional teaching is mostly one-dimensional through knowledge transmissions and visitations, and dialogue which collaborative learning is limited in use. There should be the paradigm shift in the way teaching and learning is delivered from a didactic to diagnostic approach. Teaching and students should be critically interrogate the topic of study, express and listen to multi-voices and point of views, and create respectful and equitable classroom relations. This in turn will lead to an inclusive space for collaborative learning through discussion and dialogue, resulting in improved education outcomes and the development of a range of transferable skills. There is also a need to move from a focus on individual accomplishments to emphasize collaborations, cooperations, and solidarity. It should foster the intellectual, social, and moral capacity of students to work together and transform the world with empathy and compassion. Curricula are always organizing as a grid of subjects and need to shift to emphasize ecological, intercultural, and interdisciplinary learning, enable students to access and produce knowledge, while also developing their capacity to critique and apply it. The learning experience is not confined to the classrooms. We should reimagine the boundaries of learning spaces, which move from thinking of education as mostly occurring in schools and at certain ages, and expand education opportunities everywhere for everyone. The learning process should be multidimensional, including community forms, interpersonal relations, the exchange and development of ideas, power, student and teachers' identities, and aesthetics. One of the fundamental tasks of museums is to collect and preserve cultural heritage so that cultural knowledge and skills, as well as memory and identity issues, can be passed on. Museums are important learning spaces and offer a considerable learning potential. Museum objects provide students with a tangible connections with time, places, events, or people, and allow them to experience and the evolution of human history and cultural heritage. Learning in museums helps students understanding the historical and artistic values of objects, respect diverse cultures, and understanding multiculturalism. Exploring museums gives students the ability to engage actively in the process of acquiring knowledge and to express thoughts and emotions. Effective use of museum can lead to multi-phases learning, development of critical thinking skills, and acquisitions of lifelong learning skills. Museums preserve, but also create culture, using heritage to instill a certain set of values, attitudes, and behaviors among individuals, which leads to cultural vitality. Cultural vitality can contribute to the achievement of economic, social, ecological, and cultural sustainability. The International Council for Museums, ICOM, at its General Conference in August this year, adopted the theme of the power of museums. The discussions focus on the strength, position, and capacity of museums to take on a key role as agents of social change for building a sustainable and civil society. And also the conference also explored how museums should incorporate the substantial development goals in their practices. Very important that new definitions of museum was approved at the conference. You can see that new definition in which phases like inclusion, accessibility, sustainability, and ethics are included for the first time. Okay, the Hong Kong Palace Museum. Embracing new curatorial approaches, the Hong Kong Palace Museum is to commit to the promotion of the study and appreciation of Chinese art and culture while advancing dialogue among world civilizations. Beyond the exhibition, the museum is set to become an innovative leader in museum learning through developing fresh content, creative programming, new technologies, and partnerships with local and global stakeholders. We have the largest dedicated museum learning spaces in Hong Kong, including this wonderful, the auditorium, offering a wide range of learning activities, including filming screens, film screenings, public lectures, student exhibitions, workshops, and courses. We advocate a constructivist learning theory, encouraging students to construct knowledge for themselves as a social practice situated in a cultural context. Our learning programs connect objects, curatorial scholarships, and audiences. We create environments that encourage immersions, explorations, and meaning construction through interaction and collaborated learning. That relates to self-discovery, knowledge about the world, and ultimately reflection and learning. On inclusiveness and accessibilities, we recognize that visitors have different learning needs and learning styles. We promote inclusive learning and adopt equitable learning solutions to tackle the challenge of reducing barriers to learning for all visitors. We aim to promote rich and diverse learning and engagement programs. To conclude, promoting cultural sustainability in education is at the heart of Hong Kong Palace Museum. Let us join hands to create a shared vision for building a sustainable and a civil society in Hong Kong. Thank you.